Welcome to Lighting for Profits.
All right.
Powered by Emery Allen. Here is your host, Ryan Lee.
All right. Welcome to the number one landscape lighting show in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Man, we are cooking today. I'm excited for today's episode. I've got a guest on here that has been instrumental in helping me grow my business. And so I'm hoping that you'll pay attention because I think he can help you grow yours. So excited. And it's probably not what you think. You guys know I love talking to sales. We'll probably say something about sales, but yeah, we're going to be talking about a way that you can grow your business. It's completely transformed mine, and I know it can completely transform yours. We got Mr. John Eastty with Perfect Angle Studio. And John has I like to call him my personal videographer, although he's not. He will work for you. He's done a lot of work for others in the lighting industry, and was fortunate enough to meet him several years ago now at this point. But he is the man behind the scenes. When you see our cool videos when we do events, that's Mr. John Eastty. So I'll have him on in just a few minutes, and excited to talk all things video and marketing and ways that you can grow your business by partnering with a videographer. So by the way, if you're looking to start or grow a landscape lighting business, have I told you? You're in the right place. Really grateful for your guys' support. Happy to do this show every week. I just had people send me screenshots of their, like, it must be in like Spotify or something. I don't know where it's coming from, but screenshots of their top podcasts. And like, I'm like number one, number two, ahead of Joe Rogan, ahead of Alex Hormozy, ahead of these monsters. Lighting for Profits. Who would have thought? So extremely grateful for your support. And by the way, guys, if you haven't heard, I just announced this last week, but we got to keep the announcements going. We've added on. I was like, what can I do to really give the whole lighting industry a gift for Christmas? And we decided, actually, Darcy and Jerica helped me put together this idea. And we're like, you know what? Let's do something special for everybody. And we're giving away free pre-show classes at Light It Up Expo. So if you're looking to get into landscape lighting or holiday lighting or permanent lighting, a lot of people are asking me, when's your next training? When's your next landscape lighting live? When is it, right? Well, I'm not doing those anymore, at least for the time being. And I'm telling you guys, I used to charge over $1,800 for these landscape lighting live events. We'd sell them out, have 50 people in the room. And now it's free. Like, you can come and get this pre-show class and get into the lighting industry at no additional cost. You do need to get a ticket to Light It Up Expo, but it's still a fraction of the cost. And you get a lot more value with Light It Up Expo as well. So you have any questions, reach out to our team, but go to lightitupexpo.com, get your ticket, and then we'll send you a link. You can register for your pre-show class. So whether it's for you, or maybe you have a new team member and you want them to learn about permanent lighting or landscape lighting or holiday lighting, make sure to get registered. Those spots will fill up, and then my Christmas gift kind of expires. So first come, first serve on that. Go to lightitupexpo.com. I do got to share something before we have John. Again, we got John Eastty, the man behind my awesome videos when we do events. He's coming on the show, so we're going to talk about how you can grow your business by using some of the cool video things that he does for me. But before we have him on, I do got to just say, like, the more and more I talk to people and I meet with people and I see what's happening, and as I analyze my own life and my own business, we are truly addicted to our current circumstance. Okay, think about that for a minute. It's easier to just stay average. It's easier to just keep doing what we're doing. Long term, maybe not so much, but in the short term, it just feels easier. Like, it's easier to not lift weights. It's easier to not eat healthy. You just go through a drive-through and, like, it's just way easier, right? So it's easier to not change. And when I started my lighting business, I was a yes man. I mean, I'm not kidding. Like, I would just do whatever people asked. I had a guy one time, and he was like, called in. He's like, hey, I want to do a free demo. He saw the free demo, whatever. And I used to be like, have some rules, but then I got a little bit slower. And like, the guy's like, can you come tonight? And I'm like, well, so I'd call my wife and like, hey, sorry, I can't come home tonight. I got to go do a demo. And I would rush out there, do a demo, and sometimes not even get the check. I'm like, what the heck is going on? And so I mean, I was answering the phones. I was the maintenance guy. I was doing everything. And at some point, it's okay. Like you got to hustle to get the muscle. But then at some point, it's like you can't scale. Okay. And so I have a question for you. If I just decided, you know what, I'm going to give you another Christmas gift. I'm going to give you an extra 2 days per week, just to your life. It's not a 7-day week. Now it's a 9-day week. I figured out how to manipulate time. Okay. Figured out how to manipulate time, and you get an extra 2 days a week. What would you do? Especially during holiday season or whatever your busy season is. What would you do? Because it's nice to say like, oh, I would, take some time off and I would relax and I would work on my business and I would work on my relationship with my spouse or my kids. But I have a feeling that you would end up working 9 days a week. If you work 5 days a week now, you would work 7. You would add these two because as humans, we're creatures. We basically just like fill the time that's available to us. And so I have a feeling you would just absolutely do more of what you're doing now. That's what I think would happen. Okay. But then at the same time, you're complaining about, I don't have enough time. If I just add more time, well, I just gave you 2 extra days. You say you want a better business. You say you want a better life. And if I gift you these 2 extra days, I don't think you'd fill them with different activities. You'd fill them with the same activities you're doing now. So let me give you permission to do something. And this is kind of one thing I love about being an entrepreneur is we get to create our own rules. And there's no like entrepreneur Bible that says this is how you do it, and you get to create your own rules. And here's some rules that you might want to consider. But you get to create your own rules. You can create your own pricing. You can create your own culture. You can create your own economy. Like it's awesome. Okay. It's your game. It's your business. So create your own rules. Now, I don't know how to add 2 extra days to a 7-day week. Like that's kind of like set in stone, I feel like, with the calendar and stuff. So you still have to play within the world's rules a little bit. But what if I told you that you absolutely had to get the same results that you're currently achieving in 6 days instead of 7? So I said, you know what? No, you don't get to work 7 days a week. You have to work 6. Or if you're working 5 days a week right now, you have to do it in 4. And you literally have to get the same results, meaning the same number of installs or sales or whatever you define as results. Could you do it? Could you get the 7 days done in 6? And the answer is obvious. It's yes, absolutely. I know you could do it. Now, you might have to give up something. You might not be able to scroll on your phone as much. You might not be able to be lazy. You might not be able to sleep in as much. You might not be able to do certain things. You have to find out what are you willing to give up. But I know you could do this. Okay. And understand this, what got you here will not get you there. You have to be willing to endure some pain. And not the way that you might be thinking. Like the wealthiest people, they're willing to endure pain longer than most. Yeah, we all want like the magic bullet. We want just like the quick like the secret, the landscape lighting secret. But that doesn't mean that you keep doing what you're doing the same way that you've been doing it. Okay, there is something to be said for being disciplined. But even if you're disciplined in like lifting weights, if you continually lift a 25-pound weight, you're only going to go so far. At some point, you need to step up and lift a 30-pound weight. You need to step into 35. You need to do an extra rep, whatever it is, if you want to grow, right? And so if you want to grow, if you want to scale, you have to delegate and you have to transition from operator to owner mindset. And this is an intentional thing. And the pain is doing that because it's easier to do. Like it's easier to just install lights, right? The painful thing is to actually hire someone, train them, teach them, and go through the growing pain of them sucking at installing lights and go, oh man, it's just easier to do myself. That's where most people get it wrong and they retreat. And then they wonder why they're not further along is because they haven't stayed disciplined to the process of delegating. So you have to endure some pain. And the pain is not, oh man, it's so painful. I always have to do lights myself. The pain is hiring your replacement and learning how to be a leader because that's not always natural. Where's the book on that, right? So you have to learn how to be a leader. You have to learn how to train. You have to learn how to retrain, continually train, build culture, all these things. So the wealthiest people in the world, they have figured out how to do this. They endure pain longer than most. So ask yourself the question, what would have to be true for you to never insert whatever it is? What would have to be true for you to never install a light again? Okay. And maybe you love installing lights and you want to replace yourself as salesperson. What would you have to do? What would have to be true for you to never design an install system or a system again, or sell a system again, whatever it is, right? What would have to be true for you to never have to run by and troubleshoot someone's lights again? This is how it's done. Okay. This is the magic bullet. This is the thing. You have to be willing to do this and step into this new identity of like, no, I'm an owner. I'm not an operator. That's not my role. I'm going to hire that out. Right. So I want to give you guys permission to create your own rules. Give yourself less time to accomplish the same amount of tasks that you're doing now. That'll free up a day for you. And what would you do with a whole extra day? What if you had an extra day to work on your business? What if you had a whole extra day to actually get caught up on some of your tasks that you know you need to get done? An extra day to be able to sit there and create a vision, sit there and create some standard operating procedures, and a whole extra day to actually get intentional with your pricing, a whole extra day to get intentional with like your sales process, your installation process, so that you're not constantly forgetting stuff and then going back and you're wasting an hour every day because you forgot a shovel or you forgot some wire. You can solve these problems ahead of times. And this is called preventing the fire from happening instead of putting it out over and over and over. So I want to encourage you guys, create your own rules and you'll find yourself being able to create your own economy. All right, guys, that's it. That's my rant. I always have these things on my head and I got to get them out because I'm actually more excited to have our guest on and I don't want to like deter from that. So, hey, by the way, before we have John on, got a little skippage. Hey, stop settling for cheap, unreliable lamps that ruin your projects and your reputation. Emery Allen's line of premium LED lamps deliver the performance, longevity, and color consistency your clients expect. Trusted by lighting designers and installers around the country and backed by decades of lighting expertise. Don't settle for less. Upgrade your designs and installations today with Emery Allen. Reach out to Tom Garber by emailing tomg@emeryallen.com and take advantage of their discounted contractor pricing. Don't forget to mention Lighting for Profits. Mention that you heard about them here on the show and get that discounted contractor price. Again, just email tomg@emeryallen.com. Thanks, Tom G. Thanks, Tom Garber. Emery Allen representing. They're the platinum sponsor for Light It Up Expo. Let's go. All right, guys. Now the time that we've all been waiting for. Let's get our music going for our guest. You guys ready? I know I am. And I need a drink. Welcome to the show, Mr. John Eastty.
Hey, to the Lighting for Profits community, the #1 landscape lighting profit podcast in North America, South America, or is it the world?
I think it's gone beyond that. Yeah, it's in the universe. They found a signal on like this meteor that's approaching Earth, and they hear this thing, the #1 landscape lighting show. So yeah, it could be the universe.
Yeah, and it's just this refrain. It's increase your sales, increase your pricing, right? It's just over and over again.
This is going to be an awesome conversation because you have definitely got to be the most educated videographer on landscape lighting. Like you probably are the #1 landscape lighting videographer in the world. Can we say that?
Somehow I am the preeminent videographer for landscape lighting. Yes.
Yeah. No, that's a nice way of putting it, but you are the #1 landscape lighting videographer in the world. So that's been pretty cool. Well, do me a favor real quick, just introduce who you are. And then I kind of want to introduce who I think you are, but yeah, who is John Eastty and what do you do?
All right, we'll see where the commonalities lie in those two identities. So my name is John Eastty and I'm the owner of Perfect Angle Studio. So I am originally a wedding videographer. I still also do weddings. I grew up in a small town in Massachusetts, and now my wife and I live between Massachusetts and Fort Lauderdale, Florida. I did missionary work in South America when I was in my early 20s, and love to travel. Been to more than 50 countries, so that's a pastime of ours as well. And I started my business in high school at 16. So actually on April 4th, 2026, it's going to be 20 years in business. So I started with weddings, and then about 6 years ago, transitioned into also including corporate videography.
Dude, I love it, man. Well, congrats on 20 years. Most businesses don't make it past a few years. So congrats on that. That's killer.
Yeah, thank you. It's been really enjoyable. So I think you and I connected when I was just starting to do some more commercial video.
I know. Well, it was funny because when we were doing our first event, I was like, man, we gotta get someone to video this. We were going down to West Palm Beach. We were going to go with Greg. He had his grand opening of his new showroom. And I was like, yeah, that's a good idea. He had that idea. He goes, why don't you come do it here? So I was like, okay, yeah, we'll do landscape lighting live there. I'd never done this event. I had an assistant at the time who I was like, hey, find a videographer there. And she sends over, she's like, yeah, I got it narrowed down. I think we should hire one of these three. And this is, I'm like, so of the three, which one would you hire? And it was John Eastty Weddings. I'm like, what the hell? Like, we're going to hire a wedding videographer for landscape lighting live. I don't know how I feel about this. But after looking at your stuff and everything, I was like, yeah, okay, let's give it a shot. And that's kind of how I live my life. I'm like, well, if we do it and we don't like him, then we wouldn't hire him again, but it was a risk because we had never met in person or anything like that. We had talked on the phone, I think maybe before, but it ended up just being so awesome. Such a great experience. You were definitely more than what I was expecting. I expected to have to give a lot of direction and like, make sure you do this and make sure you do this. And it was actually the opposite. You're like, hey, do you want me to do this? I'm like, yeah, I was going to tell you that anyway. Had some really good ideas. And that was the first landscape lighting live, if I remember correctly.
Yeah. West Palm Beach, it was either 2021 or 22. But I think that experience is exactly what I'm going for with my clients. I really view myself as being in the customer service business, and videography just happens to be the product.
Well, I love the attitude. I remember actually people at that show, I mean, they bought tickets to come learn landscape lighting. They commented, this is how I knew like I was going to be working with you for a long time, because they were like, man, your videographer is awesome. And I was like, what? Like, I wasn't expecting that. Like, what about my teaching? What about me speaking on the stage? And they're like, oh no, yeah, that videographer is awesome. I'm like, really? Like, what do you mean? And like, oh dude, he's just like he'll just like appear out of nowhere, and he'll like be like walking with like cool angles and like coming up with stuff. And I was like, that's really cool. Like, I wasn't expecting like me investing in a videographer to add to the experience of the attendees, which was crazy. It actually made them feel like, oh, this is a bigger thing than just like some guys in a hotel room. You know what I mean? Like it made the feeling, it made an experience. They're like, wow, dude, he's got a videographer, like that's a big deal. And you're out there like grabbing testimonials and what did you like? And what did you not like? And all this stuff. So immediately it added value to our program, our experience.
Well, I'm glad that you said that. Thank you. I'm glad that it worked out that way. And that is the goal. It's been nice to see your trajectory from the beginning. I mean, it started in a small conference room of a little hotel in West Palm Beach. And now it's grown into this massive industry event. I mean, you have more attendees coming to this show than anything else in this industry. And so it's been nice to see that trajectory from the beginning. And I actually kind of view it as cheating. I feel like I should be paying to be there. I mean, don't go too crazy with this.
Hold
Ryan,
on. Keep going. Yeah.
I get this education. I'm in these rooms with all the people that you get there. I'm in the Ryan Lee universe, which for anyone who listens to this podcast on a regular basis, I mean, this is like a university education. You have all these distinct people from many different industries: sales, SEO, marketing, people that have nothing to do with landscape lighting, but they're successful business owners. And so when I'm in this room with you, I'm hearing these people, I'm getting all of this information. And now anyone who's listening to the podcast gets it. For the last couple of years that's been available. But I almost feel like I need to pay you to be there. But I don't really mean that.
I know you don't mean it, because I check the mail every day. I'm like, maybe he'll feel guilty. Like, and there's still not a check.
Yeah.
Actually, I remember talking to you about this out. It was funny because I didn't know you were paying attention. I just thought you were filming shit, like, and you'd come up and you go, man, that's really interesting. I never really thought about that. And then you'd say, like, I think I'm going to do that in my business. I think I'm going to apply this leverage here or that. And I'm like, that's crazy. I had no idea that you would be paying attention. But not only was it valuable for you, to like kind of soak up some of this stuff, but it was good because you would ask me certain things about maybe the creative or whatever. And like, and it actually inspired me to like, oh, maybe when I teach this, I should teach it a different way, or maybe we should set up the room differently, or, things like that. So I don't know if you're like, I've hired other videographers. Some of them do listen in terms of like, they're like, I've had other people tell me that too. They're like, dude, that was like a little mini masterclass. I just made like, I know what I'm going to do in my business to make an extra $5,000 a month or whatever, but I don't think most videographers are doing that, if that makes sense.
Well, it's important to think about, I mean, this is a kind of an ethos that applies across industries. Like you had Emily Elliott on a few weeks ago, and she said something to the effect of like, if you want to make money, you have to learn to think differently. And if you want to understand what's important to your client, that's how you're going to make money. But making money should never be the primary motivator. It should be serving your client. So that type of ethos, that actually isn't for everybody. And I'll illustrate it this way. I had a phone call a couple months ago. Somebody called me up and said, this is like a discovery call, are you available on such and such a date to film something? And I said, okay, well, tell me a little bit more about what you want filmed, because that changes the scope. Am I going to need other videographers for my team? How much editing is there? And she said, oh, well, I just want some pricing. And I said, okay, well, would you mind telling me a little bit about what the product is for? And she said, oh, it's advertising for mushroom coffee. And I said, oh, that's interesting. I've heard that there's a lot of benefits to mushrooms. There's a lot of vitamins in there. It's really important for us. And I've been getting these ads for mushroom coffee. Tell me what got you interested in starting this business. She was really exasperated. And she said, look, I just want to know what the pricing is. Can you just tell me the price? And I thought, you know what? I don't think that I'm going to be right for you. And the reason is because I'm interested in my clients. If I can't be interested in what's going to benefit your business, then I don't think I can do a good job for you. I have to know who is your target market, who's your content for, what's benefiting you, what are your pain points. So the benefit of now being in the landscape lighting adjacent business now for the last few years is I know these pain points, from the first landscape lighting live conference to AOLP, ILI, several of the manufacturers, independent businesses from all over the country. I know what a lot of these contractors are struggling with, but it has to come from you actually having sincere personal interest in who you're serving.
Yeah, dude, that's awesome. I mean, well said, because I think it's interesting. I know if you would have, I was like that lady that you were talking about at some point in my life where I'm like, no, just give me the price, right? Because I didn't understand about that client experience. I didn't understand serving them at the highest level. And when she learns that, she wouldn't ask someone for a price like that. She would respect that you want to learn more about her and stuff like that. Because I used to be so impatient, like, yeah, blah, blah, blah. Doesn't really matter. I just need you there, film some shit. Like, can you be there on those dates? And so when you understand that, like your sales process, like your closing rate goes up, you get more repeat business, like all that. And that, I mean, we've worked together for years now. Like you said, you've done, I mean, do you know how many, you've been in different states now for AOLP and ILI, several of the manufacturers I know, independent lighting people, like Greg has hired you and others. That's awesome to me. I'm like, dude, did you ever think you'd be like in the landscape lighting industry doing video work?
Well, when you and I had our first phone call, that was when you had to, like, almost probably 90% of people who are listening to this podcast at some point have had to explain what is landscape lighting.
Yeah.
And that's what's great about this industry is it is still underground. I mean, I don't mean that as a pun, but it also is underground and overhead sometimes. But I still have to tell people when I'm doing events what it is that I'm filming. And the reason that's good is because it shows you how much further we all have to grow. So yeah, I never predicted that I'd be in this, niche industry. I mean, there's a few other commercial aspects that my business serves. Actually, initially, so I did I think 14, 15 years of only wedding videography, and then started to expand to commercial. And I initially was targeting the real estate market. So I had actually kind of a harsh introduction to that. I had but it teaches you a lesson. Anytime you have a failure, you learn so much more from your failures than your successes. So I had this one luxury realtor in Miami that somebody had put me in touch with, and I had no business marketing to this guy, but he agreed to have a conversation with me. And this is a gentleman that's selling $20-30 million estates in the Miami Beach area. And he was interested in having me as a videographer for his properties, for his business. And so we had a conversation on a Friday, and we agreed 10 a.m. on Monday, we're going to talk on the phone. So 9:50 Monday morning, I'm sitting there, I'm nervous for this call, and I couldn't remember if I was going to call him at 10 or if he was going to call me at 10. But I thought, well, I need to show initiative here. So 10 o'clock, if he hasn't called me right on the dot, I'm calling him. So I call him right at 10 and he picks up right away. He's like, is this John? And I'm like, hey, whatever his name was, right? And I'm like, yeah, so nice to talk to you. Hope you had a good weekend. He's like, listen, did I or did I not tell you the other day that I would call you at 10 o'clock? And I said, oh, that's the thing. I actually couldn't remember which way it was. So I just figured I would give you a call. And he's like, I don't work with people that don't follow my specific instructions. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to hang up the phone, delete my number, and never call me again. And then he hung up. And that was it. And my shot was blown. I blew my opportunity because I called him. So I've told people this story a few times, and people have said, oh, well, you didn't miss out on anything. You don't want to be involved with somebody like that. Now, at this point with my business, yeah, it's true. I can be a little bit more discerning. Life is too short to deal with pretentious people. But he taught me a lesson because he was right. He did not have time to deal with someone that wasn't going to follow his instructions. So I thought, okay, well, I could be bitter about this, but how is that going to help me? It's not going to help me, not going to benefit him, not going to benefit anybody else. How can I turn this around? I need to listen to my clients. They should never have to repeat something to me because their time is precious. And I want to view anybody that I'm serving that their time is more valuable than mine, and they're hiring me to do something. I need to listen. So since then, I've made a concerted effort. I'm really going to try to pay attention. Are we successful at that all the time? No, because human communication is something that we're always trying to work on. But when you take those little failures and you learn from it, you discern how you can move forward.
Dude, that's incredible. Great story. You're going to meet that guy one day and be like, hey, just so you know, like, thanks for being such a dick. It's really,
I know.
Hey, by the way, I gotta tease this because I forget about, like, I didn't even know until today. John's going to be at Light It Up Expo, and at the end, we've got a really, really cool offer. I'm not going to say what it is right now, but at the end of today's show, John's got an amazing offer. I had no idea. Like, I'm not paying him to do this. He's doing something really cool for a handful of people. All you got to do is make it to the end of this episode. You're still doing that, right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, you're talking about the massages, right? At the end of the expo.
Yeah. I don't know. There must be a typo here. So stick around, guys. Okay. So when you were there at the first show and you're taking notes, and actually not just the first show, but throughout this process, what do you like about the landscape lighting industry? Like, what have you learned? What are some of the unique things that you think are opportunistic for people in our industry?
The profit margin is so much higher than almost anything else that somebody could be doing in home service. So, one of the things that I liked is, and I guess this is maybe a bit controversial in the landscape lighting industry, is that, okay, to be an electrician, you have to have, 600, 800 hours of education. You don't need that to start off in landscape lighting. Most of your clients, I mean, you probably have the statistics on this, but maybe 90% of people, they just started it. They didn't have to go to a university for it. They didn't have to be actually certified in something. Now, there are certifications now from different organizations like ILI and AOLP and others that benefit people. And it's extremely important to be part of a community that is focused on elevating the industry at all. But this is the nascent stages of landscape lighting. It's only going to grow from here. I mean, if you ask Chat GPT about landscape lighting and where it's going to go in the next 5-10 years, it's just going to keep continuing to take off. So anyone who's in it already has a serious advantage because they've already gotten into this higher profit margin business. It's customer service driven. You are getting your gratification from when you light up that property and you see the look on the person's face. Jim Ply has this story about a very wealthy, affluent client who seemed to have it all. And yet when he walked her through, I think it was his final, maybe after the final install, they lit it all up and she looked around and said, "Oh, this makes me feel like it's Christmas morning when I was a child." And this is somebody that you can't give them anything else. They already seemingly have everything else in life. So when you can deliver something for people like that, it's actually gratifying. And it's a nice blend of being good at business, but also using your creativity and your design. So I think that's what I like most about landscape lighting in general.
Dude, I love it. It's been cool to just, as our relationship grows and stuff like that. I feel like maybe I'm too presumptuous here, but if the video thing didn't work out for you, what are the odds of you starting an outdoor lighting business?
I still want to start a landscape lighting business.
You should do it because I talk so much about like owner versus operator. If you put your own rules, I was talking about create your own rules, your own constraints of like, I'm going to start this business, but I'm not going to be the delivery portion. I'm not going to sell. I'm not going to design. I'm not going to install. But you have all this stuff that I gave you for free, by the way. You have all the frameworks, down. Like literally, you probably, you think about like how much you know about lighting compared to like most of the world. You're in the top like 5%. You know what I mean? Like you could launch a business and you just put constraints like, no, I'm still a full-time videographer, but I hired these people and put them in these seats to be able to run this business.
Yeah. And people are in your program because they want to find out that secret. I know a lot of these secrets, but I'm not going to tell you these secrets. So you got to keep listening. But I mean, a lot of that is in the community. So if you're tuning into the podcast every week, if you're coming to Light It Up Expo, if you are in the Legends group, if you are continuing to be a part of that community and not just listening, but contributing. I mean, Ryan's got all these coaches on there. There is a lot everything that you need to help you to be successful. But I have seen some people who have been in the program, they've dropped off because they're not implementing what you tell them to do. And it's like that in every aspect of our life. All of us know what's nutritious for us. We know you mentioned it in your introduction. We know maybe how to get some better results when we're training, going to the gym. People go to church for these things, and the fundamentals never change, but we have to implement them, because if nothing changes, then nothing is going to change. You just have to actually implement those things. So it's important to be a consistent member of that community.
Let's talk about video for a bit. So these past, I don't remember when we started either, but let's call it 5 years that we've been working together. There was one time, John, where I've been meaning to talk to you about this. I tried to reserve you and you were taken. And I'm like, I was going to be a diva. And I'm like, I was going to hang up the phone and be like, I need you to do one thing, delete my number, never call me again.
Yeah.
I almost said that. But you're just so popular these days, right? But I hired another videographer, you know this, and it wasn't the same. It was like, it was okay. And honestly, if I had never worked with you, I probably would have been like, yeah, that was good, you know. But like a lot more managing of of them, and I'm like, okay, get testimonials, and then like the testimonials weren't the same, you know. Like you have this gift to be, you're almost like a director too. You're not just like, I think people think, oh, I'm gonna hire a videographer, they're just gonna film stuff. It's like it's bigger than that. There's a creative side that's going on in your mind, and you're this director, and you've already seen the end footage. You're the one assembling it all together. You're an artist, you know what I mean? And I think people forget that. In landscape lighting, we know that. It's like, oh, you pay me because I'm an artist, and this other guy just installs lights. But people forget that when they hire other, you know, trades. How would someone interview? Like, how would someone know if they're hiring a true artist or they're just hiring a videographer?
Well, I think that comes down to the types of questions that they're asking you. If they're not asking you any questions and they're just showing up and filming it, you've got a content creator. And maybe that's all you need right now in your business. One thing that I would like to address is that I want to be honest and fair with my clients. I will tell them that there are certain things that are cheaper for them to do in-house, or maybe right now at the stage that you're in your business, maybe you don't need a professional videographer quite yet for all of these things. So for example, I'm working with a serial entrepreneur now who buys medical practices. So my role is to get the initial filming, the testimonials, the procedures they do, introductions, general marketing content done. And they have a staff member that shadows me. So I train that person the best that I can. And they're like a member of my own team that fills in for me. After I train them, you know, they're paying somebody an hourly rate who, instead of goofing off in their free time, is making reels. They're filming content. Okay. They're likely already on their phone anyway, so they may as well use it to achieve something. So I want to be helpful above all else. I understand that not every business can have a professional videographer who is busy on a retainer at all times. And the truth is, in 2025 going forward, you don't need that, because you just need consistency. So you need to have content 3 times a day across platforms is the gold standard. But at least in the beginning, have someone that's going to film the important aspects. And if I'm honest with people, they understand that it may cost them in the short term. I don't need to be there for everything. But if the clients see that I truly care, they know I care about their financial bottom line, the impact to their marketing, then they know they can trust me. They're going to use me for something different in the future. But not everybody needs a videographer on retainer all the time. I will say that having a professional is not an option at a certain point when you want to grow your business. So there's more emotionally resonant, trustworthy portrayal of video. People can tell when it's less professional content. So more professional means better engagement, better retention, better conversion results. I mean, it's a difference between amateur content that gets ignored and polished content that elevates the brand.
Well, I mean, it's no secret. Like video is one of my secrets. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, that's how I stay present. That's how we get more people to our events. I mean, people last year, after we published our Light It Up Expo videos, are like, damn it, I should have gone, you know? And that's what we want. Like, we want people to be like, no, this was like, again, if we didn't do video at all, like, how are they going to know that? And even if we did an amateur video, it's like, I don't know that I missed much. But when it's done right and you actually get to feel like, man, that's what it was like to be in that room. Like, you get a glimpse of it. And with our listeners, like with a lighting business, I mean, it's a very, you know, you can talk about lighting, but it's a visual industry. And so I highly recommend people using video as much as possible, more than just static images. Talk about some of the impact of video on businesses. Do you have some numbers there that you could share about why people should be using more video?
Yeah. So we know that short-term video content rises year over year by an average of 12%. And global spending on digital video advertising has tripled since 2019, and it's projected to triple again in the next 4 years. So you can be sure that if you're not utilizing video, your competitors are.
Yeah.
Now, what's interesting, I actually have this chart here. And we can pull it up. You want me to put that in the chat or share my screen here?
Yeah, try it. Let's see if we can do it.
Okay, let's see if we can put this. It's not letting me put it in the chat, but
or not the chat, but see if you can share your screen.
Okay.
See what that does. Well, maybe tell us what you're looking at.
So, yeah, can you see me now?
Yeah, kind of.
Can you see this graph here?
Yeah.
Okay. So
Yeah,
we see in the graph, yeah, you can see the short form video graph.
Yep.
Okay. So we see in the graph that from 2019 to 2024, 25, it's tripled. But what's interesting is the line is not vertical after that. It's actually leveling off. So between 25 and 29, the next 4 years, it's only going to double. It's not going to triple. So what does that mean? Well, it means that the people who were involved in using short form content, they've already done it. So if you're not one of those people, if you haven't been utilizing video to elevate your business, then you're already behind and you've got to play catch up. Those who have already invested in it, they're already ahead of the game. So now is the time to start utilizing it. The good news for us is that, well, it's interesting. The US has the second highest number of YouTube viewers globally, but we're not even close to having the highest population. That means our population consumes more media than any other country. So we've got the widest audience. So even though we don't have the highest population, we have by far the highest GDP. So you combine the wealthiest humans in the history of any civilization with the second largest audience, you just can't beat that. 84% of video marketers say that it directly increased sales when they started utilizing video. People are expecting video. This is what people are consuming every day. Everyone's on their phones. They're watching videos. They're using content. So they're expecting to see content. Many potential clients decide before contacting somebody for a quote if they use galleries, reviews, crucially their video content. Before they've even contacted you, they've seen all of this sometimes. So professionalism can build trust in your video. So you've got good, well shot, well edited video. It reflects the quality, the expertise of your video, or of your business rather. But potential customers might be turned off by a poor DIY video, maybe low light, shaky camera, bad audio. So that can undermine the perceived value. So we know that this is increasing year after year. And in preparation for the podcast, I did a little informal poll. So I searched US cities, just the first 10 that popped into my mind. I put in landscape lighting plus the city name, and I just pulled up 10 websites of landscape lighters all across the country. Of those 10, only 2 had video on their landing page. 0 had a video that auto plays, which is maybe more of a web design flaw. And of the 2 that had video on the landing page, only 1 had a nice video about how it was a family-run operation, how long they've been in business, why we should trust them, and they integrated photos in their video to display what they're talking about. The other one that had video, when I clicked on it, it was actually just a YouTube slideshow of pictures, no text, no explanations. So it's important. People want to know who you are. Now, if you're not quite at that point of having a professional video on your website, which can't imagine why you wouldn't, but having something is better than nothing.
Yeah. Should we prank call them right now?
I think we should. Yeah.
Let's shame them live.
Actually, that video though that I did see, I really liked that. The family run operation, and
that sounds good.
Yeah. So that's the kind of thing that I'm talking about. It's not just people wonder, well, what would I even do having a videographer? I mean, there's a variety of things. There's before and after transformations at nights. So yeah, pictures, you got to have pictures to show it. But there's
Let's talk
social
about,
media.
yeah, like let's talk about a few ideas for help people get started. And you mentioned like short form. Just talk about what like the difference between short form, long form, and that for people as well. And then talk about like if it was you starting your new lighting business that we're going to do together, what would be the first 3 to 4 videos you'd make?
So we know that the average watch time for most videos on social media, whether it's Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, is about 3 seconds. So you've got 3 seconds to get someone's attention. They may not watch the entire clip, but when they see your social media profile, we'll isolate that for now, and then I'll talk about websites. But when they see that and they see a good amount of content, they want something that's genuine. So before and after transformations, client testimonials. This is a little bit different than social media, but some companies have hired me to do training or internal documentation for crews, ensure consistency and installation quality. That's valuable for growing businesses with multiple crews. So training videos for them, but for your clients.
By the way, I would do a behind the scenes of like, this is what we're doing today. And I would be filming you, filming them, because who doesn't want to know that you're investing into training and stuff like that, right? And
Exactly.
you mentioned it very quickly earlier. Man, when you guys master this, when you really become consistent with video, you don't even need my sales script. Like sales becomes so easy because they're sold before they show up. They've been following you for years. They know your story. They know your family. They know all this stuff. It's like, hey, we're not ready for lighting, but when we are, that's the company. And the worst thing you can do is do a couple videos and get people excited and then stop. And all you did was educate them on like they need lighting. And then 3 months from now, someone goes and does a Google search and finds your competitor. You got to be consistent with this stuff because you're building this relationship. It's a long-term game, and it makes it so easy to sell at that point. You could be a terrible salesperson with the right quality social media and video game. I mean, this stuff becomes easy.
Exactly. And I can't emphasize this enough. Just be consistent. Make it a goal. Film one video daily. Use good lighting. Always try to get natural light, appropriate audio. Don't skimp out on that. When you're ready to take your marketing seriously and get ahead of the rest and get professional video, contact me. But until then, don't stop utilizing daily content.
Yeah, that's so awesome. So do you believe like is audio more important than video quality for social media?
It depends on, I mean, a lot of people watch social media videos with the sound off. So,
Yeah.
Now it's important also, and AI does this for you. I mean, you could get a editing software for free, like CapCut. So any of you listening, write that down right now. CapCut, get it on your phone, and you can do a quick edit of your own video, and you can add the subtitles on there. Lighting is really important because it's going to set apart your video visually from a lot of social media content.
Yeah. No, that's a good point. I mean, I was just thinking about the audio because like it's hard to listen. I mean, like you said on social media, a lot of times they're just watching on mute anyway. But when someone is listening, the audio is very important, and you don't need, a multi-$1,000 setup. I mean, they have those. I have like the Go. I'm using one right now. The Rode. What is this? The wireless Go or whatever. Right?
Exactly.
Do you remember our first time you had this in white and I had it like clipped to my neck? Do you remember that?
Yeah. Yeah. You didn't like it.
I was like, what is this?
Yeah.
So I bought
Yeah.
my own.
And now I will say, so client testimonials, that is one of the best things that you can get in the landscape lighting business. And you've been there with me when someone has just started to give a testimonial. We were in Texas together in your old company, Majestic, and we had done that installation, and the homeowner came out and he was glowing about how great of a job the guys did. And you said, hey, would you mind just doing a little testimonial for that? And that is the part where it's helpful to have a professional videographer because people start to get a little bit anxious when they're in front of a lens. That changes the dynamic a little bit. But having professional audio, just one that you can clip on, I recommend an actual mic attached to the transmitter. But if you want, you can just have the transmitter too. A lot of people do that on social media. You just stick it on them, and you really want to make them feel as comfortable as possible. And you say, hey, don't worry. If you don't like the way it sounds, we're not going to use it. We're not getting anything unflattering here. But what you just said to me, it was so meaningful to me. I'd really like for other people to hear it the way that you just said it. So would you mind repeating that? And getting that testimonial, but making sure that people can hear it, because the first thing that viewers are going to experience is this poor audio quality if you don't mic them up properly. So invest in, I'll just tell you, get the DJI or the Rode Wireless Go. Rode is the best one you can get. Sennheiser, also a good option. If you want to cheap out, you can get the DJI Mini. It clips on. But that's a free tip. If you're filming your own content, get good quality audio, especially for an explanation of what you're doing or testimonial.
Yeah, it's so good, especially when it is like a testimonial. People are going to turn the volume up. They're going to listen to that. I guess on social media, you could have subtitles, but if you're going to be sending an email or have it on your website, people are going to be like, yeah, volume up. I want to hear what this guy's saying. And it was interesting because that was a fun experience. When people come out and if you're just talking, like, man, this is so cool. Like, those are like the best testimonials. You're like, crap, I don't have the camera on yet, wait. And then you say, okay, go. And like, oh, they just like, they can't think straight. And that's where I've found so much value in working with you. You're able to just like calm them down. Sometimes you have them like, hey, you would be like, hey, don't even worry about, I'm not even here. You and Ryan just go have a conversation. And we're just like walking through the yard and talking. And it was kind of cool because we had directed him with certain things, but then all of a sudden, as we started asking more and more and peeling back, it's like, oh, you know what? Actually, it wasn't that. I found you on this, but then it was actually our neighbor. And then I saw you here, and they start talking more, and then they get relaxed. And then all of a sudden the floodgates open, and it's like, oh man, we couldn't live without lighting now. We got to have it. And like, that's really cool thing to get someone to say authentically in their own voice.
Exactly. Yeah. And so there's a couple best practices I'm going to give your audience now if they're going to film their own content. So lighting, again, one of the most important elements that sets apart professional videographers from amateur is the lighting. Always utilize natural light. Try to get something outside, preferably in the shade. You don't want a bunch of sunspots on people. If you're outside, which a lot of time you're going to be filming installations outdoors, use what's called a neutral density filter on whatever lens you're using to compensate for bright daylight. Make sure you have got good quality audio. Always use a good microphone. Now with AI audio enhancement, you can use your smartphone to record audio, and you can clean it up with software. So you can get some of the noises out of the background a little bit easier. Takes a little fine tuning, but that's good news for all of you guys. So that's why there should be no excuse that you are not filming daily content just with your phone. We all have this amazing camera in our pockets, and you get a free editing program, an app on your phone, you can do that. Another tip I'm going to give people,
even with the AI, I would just say, dude, get one of these mics. You get the adapter to your phone. It's so easy. There's no excuse. And the phone video, it's not the same as obviously your nice cameras for like if you're making like a real video, but for the daily, just to not have the hassle, pull out your phone, plug this in, film yourself for 30 to 60 seconds, delete the first 30 days if you want. You know what I mean? Like, just get used to filming yourself, because I will say it sucks that when you start filming yourself, you feel like such an idiot and you're like, I said the wrong thing and blah, blah, blah. Just don't worry. Like, you just need more seat time. You just need more practice, like need more reps. Just go do it and do it and do it. And know this too, especially if you're getting started, the secret is like, you don't have any followers. No one's going to see it. So you're going to get all your bad work out the first 30 days, and then you'll start to build an audience, and then you'll be better by then anyway. So yeah, the secret is just get started. But I'd say just get it. Even with the AI, just get a mic.
Exactly. And that's for social media content. Now, the other thing we want to address is your website. Do you have a landing page that even if you got a funnel design, which, you had it was Russell Brunson on at some point that talked about the importance of funnels. But do you have a landing page that has an autoplay video? That's really important. It talks about you, who you are, why did you get into this, where do you serve, what are you doing to help your clients that's different than somebody else. I mean, every little thing that you can do gives you an advantage over somebody else. Good video, again, it's more likely to convert a viewer into a lead than mediocre content. So it's important to have a lot of content, but you do want to have, there are times and places, your website is one of it, for good quality video.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, social media, you can be a little bit more relaxed on the, we'll call it the video rules, I feel like. But especially if you're going to have a nice website, that's your brochure. That's where, even when you get a referral, people are like, well, what's the company? And then they Google it and they go on to, if your website's basic and it doesn't have this, it's like, I don't know. Are they really who they say they are? But all of a sudden there's a nice landing page with a really nice video that you did put some energy and thought into the script and all that. Talk about the script, because I know even me, you're like, hey, let's do a video. And I'm like, okay. Like we script it out. You know what I mean? Like we talk like, okay, what do we want what do we want this video to accomplish? You know, we talk about goals and that stuff's helped me get intentional, because normally I'm just like, I don't know, just film the stuff. What are some secrets to scripting and teleprompters and stuff like that?
Okay, yeah. So you had Victor Hubbard on at one point. You talked about SEO. He said if there's a magic trick to SEO, it's content. So content is king. That's an old adage in an editing community when you're editing videos. And what that means is, what is the primary message that you're trying to emote to your listeners? First of all, who is listening to this? What do you want to get across? Write it out. Write out a little script for yourself that you can picture yourself saying. It has to sound natural to you. We don't want it to be too stilted. It doesn't need to be overly produced. People want genuine content. So what's going to save you time and money when you hire a videographer is if you already have an idea of what you want to get across. Just look at your own brand, look at your website. What are the key messages, the key components that are already on there? Integrate that into the video that you're trying to get across. And doing a little bit of work ahead of time is going to save you time on the shoot day. What people can expect when I come on board is we do a strategy call. So we'll have a discussion about what your goals are, what you want to talk about. And if we can write that out in advance and you can kind of practice it a little bit conversationally, then it doesn't sound so rehearsed.
No, that's great advice. Let me see if this was last week. Yeah, well, I'm going to share something. This is completely transparent. Maybe I shouldn't do this. I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't. Should I?
I think you should.
I don't know. I was like, maybe I don't want to do this. Okay. When you're making video, and I don't do this with every video, every whatever, right? Like not everything is so intentionally engineered that it's like gonna you know exactly what the future holds. But the secret for me, and I do this, I didn't do it on today's show, but last week's show, overcome your client's objections through video. Like not just the frequently asked questions, but what objections are they going to have? And so last week I talked about making decisions quickly and the value that it can provide. And what if you're wrong? And how would you recover from that? And what if you're right? And stuff like that. So I'm basically overcoming these objections so that when people do reach out to me, I've already overcome their objection. I've already trained them. I've already taught them these principles and stuff like that. And so in lighting, it's the same thing. Like what objections always come up? Well, it's more money than we thought. Well, are you going to keep waiting for that objection? Are you going to keep waiting for that to happen and then try to overcome it? Why not overcome it through a series of videos? And not everyone watches all of your videos. So it's okay to like have the same video in a different way and do it 400 times. You know what I mean? But be constantly talking about the value of landscape lighting and how, you know what, this person thought it was a lot of money. And what's interesting, and you could do a case study, you know, her husband said, there's no way we're doing it. It's too much money. Well, he reluctantly said yes. And then, you know what? He's our #1 fan. And he called us back and said, let's do the backyard now. Like you can brainwash these people. You can teach them your ways. You can actually overcome the objections before they come up. And that's one thing I love about doing video.
Yeah, and if you can integrate that objection into the introduction of your video, that's going to hook somebody that is already thinking that. So you could start off the video. Most people say that landscape lighting is a lot more money than they expected it to be. But did you know, and I mean, it could be a variety of things that you follow up with, for example, Christmas lighting. People spend a third of what they are going to invest in long-term lifetime landscape lighting in just a few weeks of, seasonal lighting. That could be where you go with that. But putting that objection into the introduction is what's going to help build trust. And then you're not going to have to face it in person.
Do you recommend any type of, I mean, I know I've used a variety of things. I have like a teleprompter now that you can like slide on the camera. I've used like Captions app. I've used teleprompter. Is there certain ones, or do you say don't script it out? Do you say just like understand what framework, maybe have the hook memorized, but then freestyle from there?
Yeah, if there's a couple lines that you really want to get across clearly, it's good to sort of memorize the idea of that, but the rest of it, you do want it to be as free-flowing as possible. You want to come across as genuine.
Yeah, I like that. And I think anytime I've done like, anytime anytime you try to script me, like I just freeze. I'm just like, this does not, like, I just want to be myself. I want to be authentic. And if I say the wrong word, what did I say earlier? I said a word that I made up a word. It doesn't even exist. Like I would rather do that, than have this scripted thing, because as soon as it goes scripting, I'm like, you can tell, it's like, I love landscape lighting and I like helping people make money with lighting for profits powered by Emery Allen. It's just weird.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. You don't want to overthink it.
Well, we're going to do a giveaway, or you're going to do a giveaway. Give us a tease, or I guess it's not a tease at this point. What are you going to do for, what are you going to do? What are you going to do for Light It Up Expo?
All right. So you have to come to Light It Up Expo, and the first 10 people that contact me, they're getting a free, totally free, 30-second social media video. So you have to contact me in advance. First 10 people, you're getting a free 30-second social media content video.
That's crazy. 10 people getting a free 30-second social media reel. All you got to do is get a ticket to Light It Up Expo. And I would imagine, are they going to email you? How do they get a hold of you?
Yeah, so you can email me. It'll be admin@perfectanglestudio.com. You can call me. You can text me. Ryan's going to have my contact information too. Just go on my website. There's a contact form on there. Some of you listening may already have my information, but first 10 people. And I am going to be checking with Ryan to make sure that you have that ticket.
I know. Should we have them? They should either do a screenshot, or we still probably should check with me. There's some sneaky people out there. So get a screenshot of your ticket for Light It Up Expo. 10 people getting a free 30-second social media reel. That's awesome, man. Yeah. Why are you doing that?
Well, because I want to see more videos in the landscape lighting world. It is not as common in landscape lighting as it is in other industries. So I want to see that go. And if I can help people start to see the results from it, then it's only going to grow from there.
Love it. All right. Well, thanks for doing that. I appreciate it. And once you get your ticket, get with John, the first 10 people. So that's going to fill up quick, I would assume. We'll get their free 30-second commercial. And then at that point, you can handle the logistics of when and where and all that stuff with them, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, cool. Well, man, I think we covered everything. Is there anything else we need to go over?
I think we got most of it. I just really want to encourage people listening, don't overthink it. Just start producing some content now. If you're not at the point where you can really get professional video, if you're really in the early stages of your business, just start doing content. Get used to it. Get used to filming yourself and document everything, because especially if you're starting out, this is going to be fun to see later on as your trajectory increases in the business. So start filming it. Don't overthink it. Contact me. I offer free consultations on how to create, how to utilize, integrate video into your business. I want to save you money by economizing our filming time, but I want you to have great quality content that shows what you do and increases your value.
Yeah, well said. It actually made me remember the very first Landscape Lighting Live. I forgot about swag bags. I mean, I knew we were going to do swag, but I forgot about the actual bag. And Tom Garber, if you remember, ran to like Walmart or something and got like happy birthday bags. They were like 5-year-old birthday party bags or whatever. So the swag bags were like happy birthday. So I go back and I look at that footage. I'm like, wow, look how far we have come, you know? So to your point, like just document everything. You'll have it's going to be part of your story later on of where you started. So that's really cool. All right, guys. Well, I highly recommend, if people do want to get a hold of you, John, you want to give your email and contact one more time?
Yeah, so the website is perfectanglestudio.com. You can contact me through my email at admin@perfectanglestudio.com, and we'll get in touch.
All right, that sounds good. My only request, John, is because you're going to get a bunch of business, is like, just check with me first, you know, make sure we got you down for the dates for the year before you get booked up. Okay.
Yeah, I'll reserve those dates for you.
Well, John, I really appreciate you, man. It's been fun building on our relationship. And I just really appreciate everything you've done for us in our business. And can't tell you how much I appreciate you.
Well, likewise, it's been a pleasure. And I appreciate you for all the free education.
Yeah, well, invoice is in the mail.
Yeah.
All right, guys, go do the stuff. Get out there. Get uncomfortable. Start filming yourself. Even if your audio sucks, your camera sucks, at least get some practice. Delete that stuff. Then get the real stuff going. Thanks, John. See you guys.